Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the very next episode of The Remedy with Tova Sido and
Janice Gaunt and
Tom Bridwell.
Oh, Tom, you said that. That sounded good. Tom Bridwell.
I may have my mic up a little louder than normal.
I like it. No,
Yeah.
it doesn't sound. You just have good radio voice.
yeah,
Well,
you do.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, since you
Some
do.
people translate that to loud.
No, I definitely think there's like a very unique. Like there are people who just have great radio voice.
Yeah, yeah, like yeah.
Thank you.
like
You
you.
do. Yeah, you do, Tom. You do.
Okay, well, we need to thank our sponsor for the next 3 episodes,
But we can't
but
because
we
we don't know
can't.
who it is.
It's anonymous.
It's anonymous.
But this person wanted to do a series on self-care.
Yeah.
And so that's what we're going to do. This is a 3-week series on how to take good care of yourself, how to implement, what is self-care, how to have a self-care plan program. Is self-care selfish? Nope.
Yeah, it is, and it needs to be.
And it's so
It's not.
okay.
If it's not selfish, you're not doing it right.
So true. So thank you to our sponsor for this series and the next 3 weeks where we will be talking about self-care.
And it's kind of the perfect time of year for that because we're
So
about to
true.
roll into Thanksgiving, and then we have Christmas and New Year's.
It really is a
and
good
there's
one.
just a lot. It's Christmas and Thanksgiving isn't a lot of trouble to me. You know, we have. I mean, my family comes, but it's. I mean, it's really fun. Everybody brings something, and it's really good. But Christmas is a lot. I have a lot of people in my
You
life.
have a lot of people in your life. And you know, even if Thanksgiving doesn't require quite the level of decorations and gifts and all of that, if you have company
Yeah.
or if you're cooking or if you're the host, it's still like a lot.
Yeah.
You know, it still takes up headspace. I mean, I had a girl come to my house this morning and she was like, and the holidays are coming. And I was like, well, let's think about how to get ahead of that
Yeah.
so you don't have to think like that. But I think today is Halloween and that calendar turns to November 1st.
Yeah.
And it's like a lot of people have that panic
yeah.
that
And
sets in of here they come.
yeah. And I think that's one of the things that self-care is going to, that we can talk about is that because with all the holidays coming, how can we simplify a little bit or some of that? Because that is self-care. If you're the one that does all the wrapping and all the shopping and all the food and everything.
Yep.
Yeah.
All the hosting, all the cooking.
I finally ordered. I do those really, really nice throwaway plates for Thanksgiving.
You've talked about that before.
And it makes such a big difference because we have a lot of people.
Yeah.
And
if you
Wesley's coming with Wyatt. No, just Wyatt and his friend because they're big Mavericks fans. And Clayton Isom, who is Blair's ex-husband, has really good seats, and he's taking the boys to the game, and they're going to meet Luca, and they're going to go down on the floor. And
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, so they're both 12, and it'll be really, really fun.
It's like a dream come true.
It is. It really is. But
Wow.
it's really nice of Clayton to go to that trouble. So, but there's a whole lot going on. And, so we'll talk about this and we can include holidays as we roll with it.
Yep.
Don't you think?
Oh, I love that idea. And I love this topic for you and I to talk about. Tom, I'm interested to on your take of it, but I feel like, Janice, this is something that you and I are really good at.
We've learned.
We've learned.
I mean, is this not a self-care podcast in a way?
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
I think, I
sure.
do. I think that that's part of what we talk about. Yeah. And I think that it's important, from a male perspective. I'll be curious to see what you think about it, Tom. Do you struggle with self-care as far as just taking care of everybody?
No, I don't think so.
You're good at it? You think you're good
That's
at it?
good.
I mean, I wouldn't say I'm good, but I mean, I certainly focus on it and try real hard.
Good.
And maybe not 100% of like across the board, but definitely an A-.
Well,
You're in the A's, which I think speaks better than probably most people who are listening to this podcast.
I agree.
My ducks are in a row most
that's
of the time.
good. That's good. It's really good.
Okay, let's start out by we're pulling some content from a article called "What is Self-Care and Why Is It Important?" This is found on a website called Very Well Health. And the first thing they do is define it for us. Like, what is self-care? So did you want to read what they write about?
Go ahead.
Okay. So what is self-care? According to the World Health Organization, self-care is the ability of individuals, families, and communities to promote health, prevent disease, maintain health, and to cope with illness and disability with or without the support of a healthcare provider. The WHO, which is what is it called? The World Health Organization. The WHO also mentions that self-care is a broad term, and there are many facets of a person's life that come into play, including, but I'm sure not limited to, hygiene, which is general and personal, nutrition, lifestyle factors such as exercise and leisure activities, environmental factors such as a person's living conditions or social habits, socioeconomic factors such as a person's income level or cultural beliefs, self-medication, and following treatment plans for current illnesses. So for a person to practice true self-care, they must utilize personal responsibility and self-reliance in a way that positively impacts their health in the current moment and in the future.
Yeah, I love that because, as soon as you turn around, you are already in the future. And I think as people age, then and it really can start early in the 40s, and people with 50s that start to develop different forms of cancer and some things like that, and some emotional depression and stuff like that, which all falls under that category of something's not being treated enough, or maybe we're not focusing enough on some of those things. And then you're going to turn around and you're going to be 70. And one of the things that me being 71, one of the greatest parts of me being 71 is that I'm in good health, and I have lots of energy and I can exercise and I can do all of those things. And I'm glad that I started doing it a long time ago so that now I don't have any condition that would really prevent me from taking care of myself.
I love that you brought that up because that is something that I don't think people talk about enough.
I agree.
Educate people enough. As I'm just in my early 50s and I'm starting to see, like, some of my friends, but their bodies are hurting more. They're aging. They're talking about aches and pains. Some people are getting diagnosed with autoimmune diseases, diabetes, cancer, depression, and some of these things may or may not have happened no matter what. But it's easy for me to see how some of these people, some of their diagnosis is 100% based on their self-care.
Yeah.
or lack thereof
Yeah.
when they were younger. You know, you just can't get away with your behavior
Yeah.
for forever.
Well,
Your body catches up with you.
Yeah, and you think about people who, let's say, smoke.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I smoked cigarettes all through high school and early adulthood.
Mm-hmm.
And
I can't even imagine you smoking.
I know. And I quit, and I'm so glad, so
thank God
glad
you
I did. You know, but I also think that I'm astounded with how many people, how much and how many people overdrink alcohol. I mean,
A lot.
a lot. And
lot.
that starts probably in their 30s. You know, I mean, you party when you're in your 20s and that sort of thing, but having an alcohol habit. I just read an article the other day about how damaging it is, and it's very accepted, you know,
Encouraged.
yeah, at an early age.
For most of the people that I hang around, most of my friends and most people I know drink a lot. Texas, I don't know if it's a Texas, maybe it happens all over the United States, but I mean, I was meeting with another girl this morning who I mean, her and her husband really struggle with alcohol. They drink most days starting at lunch.
Oh my! See,
And that's normal for them.
and
it's normal for their friend group.
yeah, and it's also so many people drink every day.
Oh, yeah.
And
A lot.
Well,
every day.
but even if it's every day and not a lot, every day is not really. It's people are being taught now or told now it's too much, you know, and so I think that it is something that self-care goes in so many directions.
Yeah.
So it's just something to think about, and I really do believe that my mother and my dad both lived a long lives, but they took care of themselves. My dad had a heart issue when he was like probably 35. And I mean, he got on it, and Mom did too. So they were healthy.
I have to tell you, Janice, I was at a wedding this weekend. I got to go to Punta Mita and officiate a wedding in Mexico. And I met a woman who was a year and a half older than you. Because you're 72, right?
71.
Oh, okay. So she's 73 and a half. And I almost fainted thinking, she's essentially the same age as Janice. Like, she was so old.
But she was.
She was, but you know, I was like, it really blew my mind that, I mean, I'm 52. I would say that anybody who's between 50 and 55 is my age.
Yeah,
We're
exactly.
Approximately the same age. And I would think that most people in my age bracket look and feel about how I look and feel, which is not the case a lot of the time. But you forget, but I try really hard to eat well and sleep well and exercise and rest when I need to. But like, you look really different than some people your age. And it was shocking. I mean, it was, I kind of just was jarred thinking this woman is the exact same age. And she looked 15 years older than you.
Really?
Maybe 20. I mean, she looked old. And I have never looked at you and thought, oh my God, she's old. Like, never.
That's so nice.
No,
Tova.
but so, I mean, it affects all of that. It affects your skin, your hair, your, you know, how much water you're drinking. I mean, all the little things that just really add up.
Yeah, that's really true. I look around at, you know, so many of, some of my friends have not taken very good care of themselves. A lot of them have. And I think that what's so good about people being focused on self-care is it does kind of take an army. You know, if everybody in your group has the same mindset, it's going to be easier to apply some of these things that we're going to talk about and are things that we choose not to overdo because eating and drinking and that sort of thing. It really does help if you have people that can collaborate with you on that.
1,000%. You know, my sisters live in other parts of, one of them lives way north in Little Elm, and then I have another sister in Phoenix. And whenever they come to my neighborhood in Dallas, they're like, I mean, people joke, and I know that you and Tom both have heard, people reference this area that we are blessed to live in as where the beautiful people live. But it's, I mean, we lose sight.
That's being nice.
We do lose sight that, like, we do live in a demographic and in an area where people lean toward taking care of themselves, which makes a difference in how you take care of yourself.
Well, and because then you're thinking, if you're the only one doing it, then it makes it harder, or you change your mind, or, you know, like whenever we go to Athens, and I'm always astonished when we go to Walmart in Athens and how people have not taken care of themselves at all.
Yeah.
And then you look in their grocery cart and you see just, you know, so much food that is not good for you. And it really...
your cart looks different than theirs.
Yeah.
It's definitely a rural thing. That's not just Texas or Athens. That is a total rural...
Yeah.
That is commonplace in all rural areas, in my experience.
Yeah. My dad was raised in a family. My grandfather was a rancher, and there were six kids, five brothers and one daughter. And my grandmother, every day of her life, got up in the morning, made biscuits and cream gravy and sausage and eggs.
Wow.
And yeah, they didn't practice very good nutrition. And none of them lived to be, they lived to be in their early 70s. My dad was like 78. But he had a heart issue when he was like 35. And so he got on it because the doctor told him he was going to die if he didn't. But they were all those relatives were raised eating that, and they still do.
Yeah.
Well, they do, except now it's a lot of the same foods are processed. You just go buy the frozen version of all the things your mom or grandmother was making, and it's like even worse than it was back then. 'Cause at least back then it was like whole food.
Yeah, exactly.
Like real eggs, real milk. Whereas now you just kind of like, it's all processed out of the freezer. That's the cheapest thing to get. And that's what a lot of these people can afford.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can go to the frozen food department and get sausage and biscuits.
Yep.
or drive through Bubba's.
Jimmy Dean. Love. If you ate Bubba's, it's kind of like that show. What was that show? Oh, Super Size Me. The guy who
my gosh,
ate McDonald's for nothing but McDonald's for a month. And if they asked, do you want to supersize it? He had to say yes. And it's like his body he was on the brink of death.
And his mind.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's
point.
Good point, Tom. Yes, it does affect your brain.
Hell yeah.
Gosh.
If I had to supersize, eat 3 meals a day, my brain would have an opinion.
I think your brain would definitely hate it, but I honestly think the way you guys work out, you probably would, because that was the other thing, is he wasn't allowed to work out. That was part of the experiment, is he wanted to just see what it would do to a lazy person.
And
He
how
didn't do
much
any
weight
working
did he
out.
gain?
He gained like 35 pounds.
In a month.
It's disgusting.
And like his liver was shutting down or something.
Yes. I would bet that you guys, if you had to eat at McDonald's, which would be a really fun bet to make somebody have to pay up on, you have to eat at McDonald's for a week, every meal.
I would die.
I
don't think you
couldn't.
would. I think you guys would exercise it right back to normalcy.
No way. My body would not catch up with it.
It kind of makes me want to throw up in my mouth
Yeah.
right now. Just the thought of it.
I don't think there's any amount of exercise that could compensate for that kind of shit food again and again
You're
and again.
probably
and again.
right.
Well, like when I go to Bubba's once every 3 weeks and drive through and get a fried chicken breast and like turnip greens if they have them and a roll. And by the time I'm finished eating that meal, I don't feel that great. But it was really good when I ate it.
Yeah.
You know,
And when you bought it, smelled so good in your car.
It does.
You can't have plans after you eat Bubba's because
That
you're going to smell like
experience-
Bubba's.
That experience you're describing is not that much different from other things like alcohol and drugs. It feels so good when you're doing it, and then you're just like, before
What did
long,
I
it's
do?
terrible.
Yeah.
So food
What was
can
I
definitely-
thinking?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about what people think self-care is, according to this article, and then what self-care actually is. So, Janice, you want to start tackling what people think self-care is?
Yes, I'll just go through and read them.
Okay.
If that's all right.
Yeah, of course.
Overindulgence in spending. People think, oh, well, I'm just taking care of myself. I can spend a lot more money than what I really planned to do.
That stresses me out.
Yeah. So this is so much about our brain and what we tell ourselves, you know? Okay.
Of
Then
what is self? I think a lot of people. I remember when I was in youth ministry, this girl, her boyfriend broke up with her on mission trip, and she was crying in the bathroom when her mom came to get her after mission trip, and her mom said, "Do we need to go shopping?" And I was like, "Oh my God, that's like the worst parenting ever." Like, because what if she grows up and doesn't have the kind of money? You know, it's like, but to feel better, you just shop.
yeah.
Yeah, that's not always the answer. Okay, overindulgence in spending. Keep going.
Binge eating your favorite but bad for you foods / Bubba's. Yeah.
This one is funny to me because it's somebody must have just thought one day, I'm just going to say that I deserve this. Like, I deserve to eat like this. It's self-care. I don't understand how this became an incorrect version of self-care. Like, what? It's just really funny to me that people think.
Well, I think for so many people, eating is coping.
Well, and I think that what a lot of people think is that self-care is self-indulgence.
Oh, I think you're right.
You know,
Yeah.
I think, well, I'm taking care of myself. I mean,
I had a shit day.
I'm the boss of me. You know, nobody can tell me what to do, you know, and so they think that I'm being good to myself and taking care of myself
Yeah.
by just saying yes, whether it's shopping or whatever.
Binge
Okay.
eating.
Okay, participating in activities that provide instant gratification. And I think that is really interesting because we can get things so quickly. I mean, we can go online and
I can Amazon Prime anything.
I'll be there this afternoon. I mean, literally, like today.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I know. So then, and that can go with spending too, a lot, Well, I mean, I work hard, so I'm just going to go ahead and spend $1,000 on a pair of shoes or something
Even if it's
like that.
financially not responsible at all.
Or even if you don't have the money and you put it on a credit card.
Yep.
That can be self-indulgence that can really come back and bite you in the booty.
When I read this, I also think of how many people use sex. That they're hurting, they're sad, they're lonely. Somebody just broke their heart. somebody just ghosted them, whatever it is. So now they're going to go out and do whatever they need to do to feel better.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think a lot of people use sex to feel better
Yeah. Yeah.
as self-care in ways that are actually self-destructive.
Yeah, like sex addiction stuff, those behaviors. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, going on expensive and lavish vacations. Now, I am a fan of that.
Especially if you can afford it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
as long as you're not putting yourself in some ridiculously compromising
Like after
position.
mortgage, put the house up for sale without telling anybody.
Yeah. I mean, I just got back from one of those lavish, expensive vacations, and I feel very self-cared for.
I agree with you.
Craig and I golfed twice, and they had these comfort stations all over the golf courses. And I was like, I love being comforted in Mexico.
Mexico is so good.
Yes.
They're good at it.
I was very comforted.
Okay, perfecting oneself by any means necessary.
What does this mean to you?
I mean, I think that if you want to feel better and you're going to work on yourself, you can just do anything you want to do because the door's open for any means. You know, I'm
Plastic
perfecting
surgery.
Yeah, perfect, Tom. That's real. Yeah. Yeah.
I see. And just going overboard in that department.
Yeah.
Too injected, too da-da-da-da.
Spending too much money, eating bad things. Yeah.
Or not eating at all.
Or not eating at all. That's right. That's a really good point. Numbing bad feelings using alcohol or illicit substances. That
I think a lot of people use alcohol for quote unquote self-care.
yeah. Yeah. And binge watching television.
I think that's, I mean, unless you're just like,
If you're not doing anything else, you're not moving, you're not socializing, you're not
sometimes
taking
I'm
care
really
of your
tired
things.
and after
Yeah.
a long day and I just want to watch Netflix. But I guess it's when you cross that fine line of like, I'm not working and I'm just binge eating because I'm self-caring.
Yeah, I think all of those things are in their own way. They can be fine.
Yes, in
It's
moderation.
when it's just when we get so overwhelmed with all of it, and we just keep saying, "Yes, I deserve it. I deserve it. I deserve it. I deserve it," and then you've found yourself being in a mess, physically, emotionally, psychologically, financially, all of that. Yeah. So, you want to read what self-care actually is?
Sure. I think that's not what I expected in what self-care isn't.
Yeah, what they think it is. Yeah.
But I think it's for a lot of people, that's really important for them to read
Yeah.
and understand that when you're compromising things, whether it's a relationship, your health, your finances, that's not self-care.
No, it isn't. Because you're either going to get sick or you're going to regret spending the money. Yeah.
You're going to find yourself in trouble in
Yeah,
another
you
way.
are.
Okay, so what is self-care? Self-care is prioritizing one's physical and mental health. How do you do that, Janice?
Well, I exercise. I get a lot.
Do you exercise every day?
Every day. Yes.
You don't take a day off?
No.
Okay.
And
Even on vacation?
no.
Wow, that's impressive. I
Yeah.
take days off.
Well, see, when we go on vacation, I mean, Tom exercises every day, so we go to the gym together when we're on vacation.
And that's another, I mean, we've already hit on this, but surrounding yourself with like-minded people is, I mean, Craig is the most active person I've ever had the privilege of being on the other side of me, and I love it so much. So, I mean, we may not go to the gym, but we're golfing or we're going to take a quick walk together or, you know, we get up early. It's like having somebody who's as active as you, as your partner or your friends is so awesome.
It is awesome, and especially with doing things that are physically helpful, I think are really fun because especially when you're on a vacation and you wake up and you think, oh gosh, are we going to go to the gym? I don't know. Yeah, well, let's go. Okay, well, then we go do that. And then you're always so glad that you did it.
Always.
And I just think that it helps bring people together.
Yeah, I do too.
Also. And, well, like if I travel with my children, all my children exercise. And they exercise on vacation too. You know?
That's cool.
Yeah.
Like it a lot. Next one, adopting healthy lifestyle habits that can be maintained long term. I think that's a really important one. These crash diets or crash whatever. I think it's less about a diet and way more about a lifestyle. Like I just want to have a healthy lifestyle.
Yeah. Yeah. And
eat healthy, exercise.
Yeah, and I just, again, can't emphasize enough how important it is to do it and don't stop doing it because I'm so glad that I have not stopped exercising. And I know a lot of people my age who don't exercise.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah. A lot of people your age don't exercise. Eating a healthy diet.
Yes.
You kind of already hit on that. I think that makes a huge difference. Eating well, the quality of foods that we eat, where we shop, how much water you drink. I think all of that makes a really big difference.
Me too.
In our mind and body. Finding exercise activities that you enjoy and participating in them regularly. I think that is probably one of the most underrated things because I do believe there is an activity that you don't have to dread.
Yeah.
That there is a physical activity that's right for you. Like if somebody said your physical activity from here on out is going to be Pilates, I would dread that. I would not want to exercise, but I love yoga. I look forward to yoga. I love to go on walks. So it's finding your sweet spot so that you can look forward to it.
And you don't have to do something that you don't like to do. Yoga makes me curse. I do not like it.
Which always cracks me up because your daughters are like legendary yogis.
They are. But there's so many things, just like going on a long walk. I mean, that can do a lot. Yeah.
Wonders for your psyche. Go listen to a good podcast, call a friend. I mean, listen to nature. There's so much joy that comes my way from walking.
Yeah, I got a treadmill about when I had my knee, after I had my knee done, and I have loved having my treadmill because I don't, if it's raining or if it's freezing or whatever, I can still get on
still
there.
Get your exercise
in. And I'll walk on it for an hour. And so it's really easy. You can watch the Rangers while they're playing, or the Red Raiders,
or the Red Raiders. This one I think is so important: getting an adequate amount of good quality sleep.
Yep,
I sleep like a champ.
I sleep well too.
Do you sleep great?
I do.
Do you, Tom?
Absolutely. I don't.
That's great.
Always get a lot of sleep at night, but I definitely make up for it with naps.
Oh. Good. My mother took a nap every single day of her life.
A lot of people I know take 30-minute, 45-minute, hour nap every day, and it totally rejuvenates them.
I get about 9 hours of sleep because I go to bed about 9:30, and then I'll get up at 6:30.
Yeah, I love good sleep.
Me too.
And I sleep hardcore.
It's good.
And I think that is, one time I read an article, it was like either in Men's or Women's Health, and they talked about how sleep was even more important for the body than exercise. Like if you were going on like 4 hours of sleep and you had a choice to get up and go exercise or stay in bed and sleep, that it was more beneficial to rest than it was to go get exercise.
That's interesting. I don't doubt it. You know, I just think that it's really important.
If I don't get good sleep, it really affects me.
Yeah. I think it makes a big difference in our brains, too, because I think our neurotransmitters that are so important in energy and reestablishing the cell health and all of that you have to have sleep. Because when you're not sleeping, your body is so taxed, you know?
Oh, yeah. You got to shut yourself down.
Yeah, you do.
And God created it for a reason. Okay, following treatment plans for existing conditions accordingly. Ooh, I think that's really hard for a lot of people. Listening to your doctor. People don't want to listen to their doctor.
That's right. That is exactly
they want to do what they want to do.
Yeah, I tried to stand on my head last week, and then when I went to physical therapy, she said, "How's your shoulder?" And I said, "It's good. It's really good, but it's kind of hurting." She said, "Have you done anything different?" And I said, "Well, I tried to do a headstand." And she goes, "No, not yet, not yet. Your shoulders don't need to bear the burden of your weight yet." You know, and I thought, "Oh, well, that's good." You know,
Well, good job listening.
yeah. They told me I couldn't water ski for 9 months, for a year, till next summer.
Wow. Well, and you were
Or
really
play
good
golf
about
or any of that, and I'm doing it.
But that's got to be so hard.
It is hard. It is, but I just am not. I've been really good about that, just because I wanted it to heal. You know.
Okay, take the last one. Taking time out for yourself to participate in healthy activities you enjoy. I think this is incredibly important. Really enjoying life is self-care. But I think the interesting difference between these two lists is oftentimes people think that self-care is actually indulging. And what this article is presenting is that self-care is not indulging at all.
No,
It's not crossing the line.
It's kind of the opposite.
Yeah.
It is self-care is not saying yes to everything you want or everything that crosses your mind.
Or everything you think you deserve.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
It's actually staying within healthy, productive parameters.
Yeah.
Whether it be financial, physical, sexual, all of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which isn't good news for a lot of people.
Yeah.
People might not want to listen to next week's or the week after that. So speaking of, we're going to be back here next week, and we are going to be talking about what are the barriers to self-care. So what keeps us
stuck maybe in not practicing good self-care.
Yes.
Yeah, that'll be good. That'll be fun to listen to or to figure out.
And then what are the different types of self-care?
Yeah.
There are. So now that we know what it is and what it isn't, we hope that you will join us next week to talk about the barriers and to talk about the different types.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. Y'all have an amazing week.
Thanks for listening.